What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros channel. I am back at home after a fantastic week over in Nashville for the Bitcoin conference. If you want to learn more about our thoughts and what we think about that, come back today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our live show, and we will be going in depth. But in this video, we're just going to be doing a brief update of what happened over the weekend in price action. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple of altcoins. So don't miss a single second of the video. If you guys need your TA fix, I got you this morning. But first, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and before we get into the content, we got to roll our intro. All right, for this video, we're not going to get into any articles, any news. I'll mention some of events, but as a whole, we're going to be really strict about being in the charts today. Some of you guys who love technical analysis, you're going to love it. Let's go ahead and dive into the Bitcoin chart. Now, there's a couple things I want to point out for you guys. The first big bullish move is that right now we are breaking out of here sustainably. We're breaking out of this falling channel. Yes, we had some fake outs back here in May and June, but this one does look like it's picking up some strength as the legitimate breakout. And in case you're wondering the significance of this, we've been tracking this move now for a while that should have a breakout prediction of coming up here back to around we have never been here before, up to $84,000. Brand new all-time highs coming very, very soon if this move continues. I want to make sure you understand, though, taking a different perspective, while we are looking at this channel being broken, there is still technically this zone right here on 72,000 that until we break above 72, we're not seeing higher highs just yet. Are we breaking trend lines? Yes, but technically still we are seeing levels of lower highs and lower lows come into play for Bitcoin. Before I move into the Lux algo indicators, which really do help us here on the channel get a better understanding of what is coming next, I want to make one statement about something that we need to see before you should get too overly bullish, and that is we need to see volume increase. This is something that you wait for on big breakouts. You got to see volume, at least on the hourly chart, 4-hour chart, probably increase. And right now, even though we're making some big moves to the upside, the volume is extremely low. What does this communicate to me right now? This says that while there's positive price action, we're the highest we have been in Bitcoin since all the way back here early in June, we're not necessarily getting this move because of excessive amount of bulls. It's not like we're getting crazy amounts of buying that sustain a longer term bullish move. This is more just the bears not doing much to fight the pressure. Can the bears wake up and bring price back down? I think there's actually a chance we see a little bit of a cool off today. I'll talk about that here in a second. But the bigger thing is, can we see the bulls finally light up? Because ultimately, what you want to see on these breakout formations, you want to see when the resistance is finally broken, a lot of volume come in, confirming that the longer term holders, the whales and the smart buyers are firmly back, and we're about to see a much larger move coming. Unfortunately, that's not what we're seeing. If you guys want to see a reference on this, an idea of when this happened, let's go back over here, over towards February 28th, where we did have a little bit of a channel right here, a falling channel. If I zoomed in, actually, let's even go to the 4-hour chart for you and kind of move over there and see this a little bit better. You guys can see here after a couple of days of falling in this falling channel, look at what happened when we broke out. The volume increased, confirming that the bulls were in control. In the same breath, that's exactly what we want to see here in the next couple of days to confirm this breakout. But at the moment, it is something to be happy about. Just stay concerned or stay in the zone of saying, you know what, until I see the volume, there's a decent chance we pull back. And speaking of that pullback, let's go ahead and take a look on lower time frames of what we're looking at and why I do think a small pullback is coming. I start off with the volume. Volume's one reason why I think it pulls back. There's just not a lot of buying or selling happening at the moment. Volume will pick up. I think price comes back down, but also we're hitting our take profit here on the 4-hour chart. That's very, very a telling sign right now that with no volume and hitting suggested take profit levels, that's something that's going to probably be pretty heavy resistance. If you start to take a look at oscillators here as well, you are seeing bearish divergence continue to form. While the money flow is still positive, and while the RSI is not crazy overextended, it's also definitely sitting in the camp of being overbought. And on the 1 hour chart, which kind of tells us what the rest of the day would look like, this is where you will start seeing concern. We're going to look at a couple other coins here as well, and you'll see this 1 hour chart starts to look concerning for altcoins. But we do have bearish divergence. We did get oversold and have a major bearish momentum right there, bearish block. The money flow is still positive. So I'm not going to say with 100% certainty we have to crash today. But when I take a look at the fact that both the 1 hour and the 4 hour, we are sitting in our take profit zones, the fact that we are sitting in bearish divergence territory, and the volume, again, is not doing much, I would not be surprised if we did see the price of Bitcoin cool off here just a little bit. In fact, actually, let's go back to the 1 hour chart. I would not be surprised to see us cool off just a little bit, at least coming back down to our smart trail or these order blocks in play here, somewhere between 68,400 and maybe possibly even back down to around 67,862. Why also is this level probably going to be pretty significant for a potential pullback? Well, this zone I just referenced here was the former resistance from back here on July 22nd before we had that dip into the Bitcoin conference. So coming back down, retesting that as support, not necessarily a crazy thought for that zone to be turned into. But something I do want to mention before we move on from Bitcoin, this is something I talked about. Actually, I recorded a short video with Stocks with Josh yesterday morning before leaving the conference. It was a great one. Go check out his channel. We had a great conversation. But I want you guys to realize, for the first time, at least in the last 5 years. I mean, I guess I wasn't really tracking it too much. I don't think Bitcoin conferences were too much of a big deal before 5 years ago. For the first time in 5 years, the Bitcoin conference was not a sell. It was a buy. This was the price action as we dipped into the opening hours of the Bitcoin conference Thursday morning on July 25th. Bitcoin price fell all the way back down to $64,000. However, by the time it all was said and done and closed, we closed up above $68,000. This was bullish. And right now we are making bigger moves to the upside, of course, being above 69,000. I'll just recap. Again, you guys saw it earlier, but what are we looking for to get our confidence? A, volume. B, let's break above 72. Let's set a higher high for Bitcoin. That's something that you want to see to feel more confident. I'm not necessarily waiting for those things to buy. I definitely want to be buying levels below 70,000. But until those price levels and that volume comes in, it's not necessarily a sure thing this rally is sustained. There is still a chance we could pull back being lower. But speaking of things that Bitcoin is doing, before we transition to altcoins, Bitcoin dominance. We've been telling you now on this channel for a while, or at least I have, that I believe 60% is still in the cards. Well, guess what just happened here, ladies and gentlemen? We just set the highest weekly close last night for Bitcoin dominance. That's the highest we have been all the way since the last bull market way back here in April of 2021. We are seeing a lot of signs that we are not done moving to the upside here on Bitcoin dominance. There's a channel, a rising channel that we are in right now that does still see us moving up here closer to 60% before the altcoin season comes, probably later on, Q4 of 2024 or early Q1 2025. Either way, this is transitioning us. Bitcoin doing very well right now. Even altcoins are doing well, but Bitcoin dominance as a whole trajecting to the upside. Look for this to continue as we look at charts. Let's kind of go through these ones though quickly. Let's take a look at Ethereum very fast. Ethereum, as we said it could do, pulled back down to former resistance and found some support right here. Went a little lower than I thought. It did come down all the way to 3,090. I thought that it would get some more support here on 3,200. Either way, you can see for the most part, we end up bouncing off of this former resistance level. And now we are slowly making moves back to the upside. This, of course, is going to be partially because the grayscale GBTC sell-off of the Ethereum holdings is still happening. Of course, their fees are crazy, crazy high. It's a short-term bearish move. Long-term Ethereum ETS will be very bullish, but Ethereum's still fighting the selling off of grayscale Ethereum. So continue being patient for waiting for that to be over. It will come. In fact, I do wonder now if that is over. Let's take a look at what Ethereum's though doing when it comes to our Lux Algo indicators. 4-hour level of resistance in play at the moment. We got a bearish breaker block, a very strong bearish breaker block, I will say as well. A reason, again, I thought Bitcoin's going to cool off. Would not be surprised to see Ethereum cool off. We also are sitting right there beneath the 4-hour smart trail here on the 4-hour chart. If you look at our oscillators, we are getting resistance levels in play, not necessarily screaming oversold on the 4-hour chart. The 1-hour chart, however, it is screaming that level. I told you guys 4 hours sitting resistance. 1 hour, we are seeing the take profits being hit, but this is the one that's really concerning to me when I pull up the Lux Algo oscillator. We do have a lot of reversals here in play more recently. We have our bearish momentum, and while the money flow is still positive, similar to what Bitcoin was looking like, see that bright green right there? That's excessive buyers in the space right now. That means that this rally is being pushed up by a little extra juice. But when that extra juice leaves and this money flow starts to fall to the downside, and I do think that's going to happen here very soon, that should be a good sell-off for Ethereum. And what I'm looking at right now, did not mean to hit that one. What I'm looking at right now is a pullback back down to where we're going to have a bullish breaker block and the 1-hour smart trail. Look for a pullback back down to around 3,300. Also, again, the resistance level from back here on July 27th. Look for that to be now turned into a level of support. Could be a great buying opportunity. Let's keep moving on, though. Let's take a look at a couple others. Solana making some big moves here, back up above $190. It's already cooling off this morning. I guess go ahead and tell you, it hit its take profit. The oscillators are overextended. This one actually went ahead and got itself a nice sell signal with the red reversal, bearish momentum, and the negative money flow. Where are we falling back to? Well, the 1-hour chart's going to say keep an eye around 187, down here to about 183. If you were to go to the 4-hour chart, where I imagine we're starting to see some bearishness come into play as well, could we fall maybe even all the way back to 176? Let's continue to watch how the 1-hour chart develops. What kind of strength do we see in the 180s? If we don't really see volume coming in to defend that level, if we don't necessarily see a lot of buy orders coming in, I do think that we could make a fall back down below 180, come back down into the 170s. But for right now, I do think if you see 185, 184, give or take, you're probably looking at, again, former resistance, level of a lot of trading. You're probably looking at a very good buying zone as Solana makes its way back up not only to $200, but looks to set new all-time highs in the next couple of weeks. Let's do one more coin that's looking really exciting right now. I want to go out to the daily chart for this one. Come back this afternoon if you want to see more altcoin technical analysis. But today I want to take a look at Kaspa. Kaspa actively, as we are speaking, working to break out. Let's turn off Lux for just a second. And let's turn off this thing. It's from technical analysis we did a couple of weeks ago. We are now seeing on the daily candle close to, again, we had a higher close over here in June, but I bet you if we come to the weekly charts, we did not close the highest weekly candle ever. That highest weekly close was back here in June. But the point still stands. We are working at the moment, as we have told you on this channel, to break out of this ascending channel we have been in ever since back here in February of 2024, with a lot of resistance in this area around 19 cents, but rising level of support. This is a big move. We're probably seeing all the way now that we're at the tipping point of this formation. We are finally seeing the breakout come into play. This will see the price probably shoot in the next couple of weeks up to about 35 cents. So if you don't have your Kaspa bag, I highly recommend, even though it's not financial advice, I recommend if you like Kaspa and you need to add to your bag, you better do it sooner than later, or you're going to be buying probably closer towards 35 cents the next couple of weeks. When you turn on Lux, I'll go here for a second. There is going to be a little bit of take profit levels right above us, so don't be surprised if it's not just a straight shot up there. But when you come out to more like a weekly chart, while we still have take profit there, we're also being in price discovery mode. Would not be surprised if we just see several white candles up, and to the right. But let's take a look at the shorter time frame. Today, what's going on? We hit our take profit, but here's what I'll tell you. While Bitcoin was showing some selling and Ethereum was showing some selling and Solana was showing some selling, Ethereum flashed to sell back here, and now we're kind of sitting back at the levels I almost would have told you we needed to come back down to bounce. It does look like we got close to our smart trail. It does look like we hit this order block. Whether you want to purchase some now and maybe wait, maybe there's a chance we pull back down to 18.8 cents. But what I'm seeing on the charts, especially on the oscillators, it looks like we kind of took out the majority of what we need to do. That's not crazy bearish money flow. In fact, it looks like it's slowly but surely coming back in. That oscillator cooled off very nicely to a trend line where this oscillator's kind of been moving during this upward trajectory. So is Kaspa going any lower? It could, but probably not by a lot. I think that the cool off it had this morning looks like it might be good enough. We might see Kaspa start an early run before the rest of the crypto space. That's all I have for you guys in this video. Like I said, if you guys want more content on altcoins, not only can you check out our live show this afternoon and every single day, weekdays from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but another thing you guys can check out if you want more access to myself, to T-Shroom, to Crux, if you want to learn more about trading and investing and preparing yourself for your long-term financial future, make sure to check out our Discord and our different paid options where you can spend a lot of time with us in private Discord channels, getting feedback on your portfolio, getting feedback on what you're looking at for trades, and even seeing some of the things that we're doing to continue to build our personal wealth. Check out these options in the link down below. It's right in there in the description. With that said, though, that's all I have for you in this video. I'll see you this afternoon. Adios.